All right, you guys, check this video out. This is a custom dirt trike we have built, and I wanted to give old RPC some love because on the social medias I see a bunch of other ones and nothing about this guy. So Tommy Reinhardt over there in Texas, he builds these, and I love the lines of it. So I love how it's clearance for the tank and it just kind of sweeps down. I just think that it's beautiful. The couple other ones, I'm not going to name names, but to me they look like adults riding kids' tricycles. And this one, man, it's just, I think it's cool. So there's a base model that you can order from his website, and I'm gonna put the information because I almost got scammed. There's a scammer site out there, and the guy was trying to tell me like he wanted to do friends and family PayPal, and it was all just shifty. So I started doing some research, and I found the real Facebook page, and he said, oh, and Tommy messaged back, said only order from the website. So I did. So the big question that everybody wants to know is the price. People come over here like, oh man, that's cool, build me one. I'm like, okay, $3 grand. And then this one's probably gonna be in the $4 grand mark. Why? Well, I did all the add-ons for every single part that you gotta get. So if you go onto the website, there's kind of like a check mark box that you can add or delete or whatever like that. So in the base model, it only has things like foot pegs, no gas tank, wheelie bars you can add. So basically I did the cheapest version. That's what this one is up on the chassis jig. And with delivery, it's 390 bucks. Okay. And for the deluxe with like the foot pegs and all the stuff, basically this is a deluxe package right here. Comes in a box from Texas right there. Very well packaged. You're looking at $915 fully welded. Because if you guys don't have a chassis jig and a decent MIG welder at minimum, you're not going to be loving this type of DIY kit. So that's what you get, man. It's going to be basically and then I wrote down some notes here. Base model, fully welded for 500 bucks. Fully welded premium, which that's what this is, but not welded up because I like to do my own welding, is 915. So big price change. And then, so if you were gonna build one of these with a Harbor Freight, motor, you're looking at about $2,208 is what I came up with, just parts. Okay, this boy, not mine, because it's got all the pack out stuff and everything. You're looking at like $2,733. So if you're a DIYer with welder, chassis jig, because you got to get the head tube rake. I actually had to re-weld this one because it was too slack. I didn't have that steep enough. I think I'm at 27 degrees now, and I was at like 23, and at like 40 miles an hour. That thing was it was just terrifying to drive. It didn't want to have straight line stability. And then this one's got the steering damper there, to prevent tank slap. So I wanted to give him a shout out because I don't see him getting like the same notoriety as the other ones, like the garage vlog and stuff like that. But anyways, let's just go around this because this video is just going to basically be Milwaukee Dirt Trike. So this isn't going to be a build project video, but I will put the links to all of the bits and pieces that it takes to build one of these in the description, because we're Amazon affiliates and we get a small commission. So it helps our channel out, and you guys don't have to sit there and spend days or finding stuff that's going to work. Because there's a lot to this, like the brakes and all the other little tidbits. So I will provide you guys links to products that actually work and I actually used. Surprisingly, on Amazon, you cannot get things like the wheels and a true cart axle. You can get like the 1-inch, threaded ends, but I'm using racing cart parts because that's what I build. So I've got all these parts. These are used wheels. Might do some surprises. I'm probably going to do a bunch of videos on this, but I want this thing to be the ultimate mini trike. So I'm not going to give any surprises, but this thing's going to be radical. So I'm going to put this list on that I'm holding in my hand and kind of walk around. So welded up the chassis. It's basically ready to go to powder coat, and because you guys can see it's bare frame, and this is what we got. Bam! Some bright red. Supposedly, can't remember the salesman's name, this is the closest thing he has to Milwaukee red. So I have some finish welding to do. I'm going to TIG weld this tank cover plate. And I know I had a couple little welds on the inside of the bearing supports. So, and then I'm going to sand this down and get this powder coated this week. Same with the base model. That one's going to be for sale. This one, I'm going to be at the dirt tracks cruising around. It has enough cargo space that I can actually, this was the design. Let's just talk about it. So I love Milwaukee tools. Boom, Milwaukee, basically everywhere. I wanted to do something that I could carry tools in. So I used this small one because I can actually go 2 up. So I can actually take a rider. This is very well supported. But if I needed to, I could put a bigger pack out compartment on there. So that's basically it right there. This will hold all my tech tools if I'm teching the mini wedges that night. So that is the pack out. That comes right off. Let's see, what do we got? So we got a really bright headlight in the front. Bam! Powered by a Milwaukee M12 tool adapter there. So that's that. When I got this kit, some of the things that I had to figure out was what brake system. So basically on Amazon, I got this for 25 bucks. That is, if you wanted to do billet or something a little bit less cheap looking, you're gonna have to raise the budget. But this thing worked great. I had it in the pits. On this one, actually, I had just threw it together so I could do nationals last year. So that's 25 bucks for that kit, but I'm actually putting a longer cable because I want to try to put the the caliper in the back side. And I'll do build videos later, but yeah, like final assembly. So brake system, cheap. The expensive parts, freaking wheels, tire, 100 bucks. Rim, 45, 50 bucks times 3, guys. Motor, 160 bucks at Harbor Freight, but you're gonna have to remove the governor. If you want it to be anything peppy, you're gonna wanna put some billet internals. I am actually running a torque converter, and to run a torque converter in these chassis, you cannot run the stock gas tank because you have to raise it up so that the driven pulley clears the frame back there, you see? So it's got, I think, 1.5 inch risers underneath there. So you got to get the tank option. So good things to know, right? Oh, and you have to make a custom exhaust. That's literally some scrap metal from a chassis, and I bought a flange. Actually, I didn't put that in the list, but you got to get a flange, and you have to have a tubing bender so you can get it to clear everything. I wanted to keep it out of the heat. I'm going to wrap that with header wrap. So yeah, torque converter should be very smooth. So, I think I put 300 bucks for the motor. If you want to get it even rowdier, like this guy over here, we're actually probably going to put this 236 in it. Gauge warhead, roller rockers, full craziness, probably 20 horsepower. I might have to install the wheelie bars then. So That's kind of really it. Once you look at some of Tommy's pictures, because I had to screenshot everything, you know where all the tubes go. The tricky parts are, these are the bearing supports. You want to put them like this so that the wide side is at the bottom, okay? And then this is the brake holder. I'd have to look at it down there because I can't even remember how this guy goes. I can't even see it, but you have to make a spacer so that it floats. It basically looks like this right here. I'll talk about that more in the video, but it lines up with those two holes, and you just got to figure out your spacing to mount your caliper. Okay. That was it. Everything else is really easy to understand. You've got your two main rails. You've got your lower, I guess it'd be the bearing tube. Goes like this, and he cuts them long, and they're random lengths at the end, so don't freak out. Once you get it jigged up and you put your bearings in, you want to put the bearing carriers all the way to the back, and then once you get them tacked in, you just cut it off there. I left them long on this, as you can see, because I actually added a bumper, and then it'll just be bolted on. So that literally you can take this off, and the only way that you're gonna know that this is set up for a pack out is these two brackets right here. Other than that, it'll look just like that guy right there. So everything else, this is basically what you get. So you gotta have to have a good flat disc because they're plasma cut, so there's gonna be a lot of slag on there. So you're gonna need to spend a couple hours cleaning up this stuff. Motor plate, you know, everything comes a little bit surface rust, so you're gonna have to prep all this before you paint or powder coat, right? So all your tripper tree, that's for your forks. I didn't use this, but this goes on the back part of the seat. And I'm just answering these questions because I was like, well, where the heck do all these go? But normally it goes in the back here. I didn't use it because I wanted to have some tabs for the seat. And this is a cheap option for a seat, guys. This is just half of a skateboard wrapped in some vinyl. It's not the prettiest, but it's not 70, 80, 100 bucks. But yeah, that's that. Gas tank, this was the problem, and this was out of his control. He subs this out, and this took like months to get. I kept saying, hey, how about the tanks? How about the tanks? I don't know who BH is, but they finally came, but they're beautiful, very well TIG welded. But yeah, those took quite a while to get. If I had one complaint, it'd be that, but that's out of his control. So, I wanted to keep this video short, so that's pretty much it, guys. This is just a heads up. Get ready for some dirt trike videos. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching.